And we're back again. Your man Laveranues Coles and Wayne Chrebet. I'm not going to talk much, but we're right here after the Jets-Seahawks game. Wayne, what is your thoughts? How do you feel about the game?
Hey, let's talk about the good stuff first. I got an alert, that your birthday was this weekend, so that's the good stuff. 45 years old. Got me thinking back to your 40th birthday party. I came down there, Jacksonville. I'm happy we're as close as ever, and we got a chance to do this show together. And now to the bad stuff.
Thank you, bro.
For what was at stake yesterday, it's just amazing how flat they came out. And they'd be the first one to say it after the game. True story. I'm about to go watch TV and see the game, and it was 7-0 already. I didn't even know what happened. I didn't get a chance to grab my popcorn, and it's 7-0. And I see first play of the game, 60-yard run by Kenneth Walker, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. Not to be that guy, an ass or whatever you want to call it, but did they know the game started at 4:15? Because they never got going. I don't know if they're on East Coast time or what, man, but I want to know how you feel. Obviously, you have a strong opinion on it, but, man, for what was at stake, it's a shame, and I'm sad, but it's their own fault that they came out that flat. I'm not sure why they did, but they just weren't ready to play.
And again, I said I was going to allow you to lead things off today, and I gave offense an F-, of course, because we're right back where we were in the beginning. And it looked like Zach Wilson was playing, just in my opinion. The offense looked the same as if he was out there. So for me, and I've said this many weeks before, our offense has zero chance to put the ball in the end zone pretty much when they get down in the red zone. We're last in red zone efficiency. And it reared its head again yesterday. We only had 6 points, 2 field goals, which is horrible for a team vying to get into the playoffs. So there really isn't much more for me to say at this point, because I've said the same thing week in and week out about this offense not blocking for the quarterback, and I didn't care who was standing back there. It wasn't going to work itself out. But then with that, you had Mike White. He was off yesterday. It was just one of those days where I watched throws where he was behind a lot of guys, and he threw a couple picks. He had one fumble that he lost, and then there was 2 or 3 more balls that should have been intercepted that they just dropped. So again, it was just things happening that I've seen about the rear his head, and I get it. The offense looks better with him at the helm, but he's still not the answer in my opinion. And I think that if you're going to invest that type money into a number 2 overall pick, you should have stuck with him a little bit longer to see if he is the key to next year. But now you don't know, because now they're like, well, we're going to give him a chance. We're going to give him an all season. So again, here we are back with what I was saying from the beginning. And again, I'm looking to hear what you have to say about our QB situation moving forward.
I know what's wrong with the quarterbacks. I know exactly what's wrong. It's the offensive coordinator, Mike Lafleur. And I'm never one to call for someone's job. I would never do that. But that guy's got to go. I mean, he's a rookie coordinator. He's not creative. He's predictable. He's not matching what the defense doing. There's no adjustments. And like I said, I hate to say that, but I mean, I don't care who they bring in. I don't care who they bring in with that system, how he calls plays. It's just not going to work. And I think at this point, if it's not Zach through the draft, they got to bring in, through free agency, an established quarterback. But we didn't even have a play in the red zone.
I get it, but I hate the swap coordinator so fast, because I get it. He's a rookie. But then what are you asking your quarterbacks to do if you plan on keeping the same 2 guys? Now, if you're going to bring another quarterback in, that's something totally different.
Yeah.
But if you're going to keep the same quarterbacks you have there and figure it out amongst that room, I think you should, at that point, keep the coordinator, because then at least they've had an opportunity for 2 years and maybe learn what he's asking them to do. Because learning a new system is very difficult for a quarterback, and then going out and trying to make it work throughout the season. So I think it's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. I don't think a coordinator is the answer, but if we're going to keep the same quarterbacks, but if you're going to bring in a new quarterback, then yeah, you consider bringing in a new coordinator. Right. So it's a lot of things that the front office have to make decisions on, and then once they made a decision on that, then they can move forward.
Yeah, I'm looking. Look, they fumbled before the half, missed field goal, punt, interception, punt, miss. I mean, it's just I mean, obviously, you talk about the defense. Like I said, they came out flat, but you got your magic number. You know, they haven't scored a touchdown in 2 games. So, yeah, I agree what you're saying. You know, just having that consistency with the same system. You know, I had a bunch of systems when I was there. But like I said, something's got to change, whether they bring in, you know, the quarterback guru or whatnot. You know, I'm not ready to give up on Zach. But I think the biggest change is just having a different play caller. What was your feeling on the defense? How
Well,
they
I gave the defense a D minus because they gave up points on the first 3 drives of the football game, which is very uncharacteristic of them. They gave up a touchdown, then they gave up a field goal, and then they gave up another touchdown. And we all know that that magic number is 17, and to give that up in the first half, and knowing our offense can't score points, the game was pretty much over from at that point because we can move the ball here and there, but we're not able to put the ball in the end zone. So basically, I felt like the game was over in the first quarter, pretty much first half. Once our defense gave that up, now they buckled down and got it together in the second half. But at that point, again, our offense struggling so much that it really doesn't matter. If our defense don't score a touchdown, we'll have a chance.
Yeah, and people say, well, the defense did this and did that and negative stuff. Yeah, they came out flat, but people don't realize, you know, as far as how the defense plays, you know, if the offense is going 3 and out, 4 and out, the defense never has a chance to rest. And it's got to be tough that they just get off the field, you know, sit on the bench and they got to go back out there. So, you know, I'm reading all the comments about the fans, what they're saying, just end the season, same old Jets, cursing, you know, one from Mike effing White to effing Mike White, you know, they just whatever they're saying. And I feel for the team. I didn't realize we got the longest playoff drought, 12 years, and I'm thinking to myself, let me look how many times I made the playoffs. You weren't there in 95 and 96. 95, my rookie year, 3-13, terrible. And I'm like, it can't get any worse. And then we went 1-15. But after that, I made the playoffs 4 times. And I couldn't imagine going a whole career and not making the playoffs at all. And that's what happened the last 12 years. And it's just the fans deserve more. Certainly have a good young core and pieces in place, but it's just there's a couple pieces away. And like you said, I think it starts with the quarterback.
Yeah, and again, I don't care who they have back there. You still got to shore up that offensive line.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what Mekhi Becton coming back and some guys that they've gotten hurt. Will that help that situation out? But I think at this point, they really need to do a self-evaluation of how they're going to move going forward. One in the quarterback room. Again, the offensive line is going to be fine. Defensively, I've always said, you get enough film on the defense. They were very young in the beginning, so a lot of teams didn't know a lot about them. Once they have film on their strengths, teams are going to be able to game plan and be able to put them in situations where they can pick on some of these guys that are more vulnerable than Sauce and Quentin and all that. They're going to pick on some of those third and fourth guys back there in the secondary and see if they can cover those bigger tight ends or bigger wide receivers. And that stuff is starting to rear its head again, like I always say. So now that they've gotten tape, now they know what you're like and what you like to do, next year is going to be even more difficult for our defense to go out and shut teams down because the film is there. People know you're not going to a last place team that's shocking people by your speed and your strength and your ability. Now people know they're going to game plan. So now it being 17 points, people are going to be able to put up 20, 25 points on our defense. Our offense is going to have to respond and keep that momentum, not play from behind all the time.
Yeah, I think they started to figure us out a little bit. One constant is obviously Sauce, you know, 1 catch for 3 yards for Metcalf. Most passes defense this year. Offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. So there's positives. But like I said, they need to look in the mirror from Joe Douglas and Coach Saleh to, you know, the 53rd man on the roster. You know, I don't want to, you know, we have one more show and I don't want, you know, but the season's over. So we're obviously talking about what needs to change. Special teams, obviously he made a couple kicks, but one thing I've noticed since we had Braxton on the show, and I'm a fan, is how many punts he's let hit the ground or not handled, and where we're getting the ball inside the 5, they're down inside the 5s, and it's just disappointing being an all-pro last year and just didn't have a big return. So, you know, not great, but something they definitely need to get better on next year.
Yeah, I gave special teams enough. They missed a couple key kicks. I thought that could have been some momentum swing for the team. And I get it, Braxton. And again, we don't know what they're telling him to do. I know when we were playing, you were never allowed to back up inside the 10 and catch the ball. It's a little bit different now. They got better and able to place balls in certain places. But I mean, I don't want to keep telling you, they say kicking the dead horse or whatever it is, but they have to figure it out. We all know that the writing's on the wall for the team.
Yeah.
They got tough decisions to make this offseason. And again, is the quarterback room is the most important thing. And then you have to figure out, because the guys have the talent. We've seen Mike White be efficient. Zach win games. He hasn't been efficient, but he has won games. Right. I think these guys were 7-4 at one point this season, and the sky was the limit. And now they've dropped 5-6 games in a row. So they went 1-7 over the last couple games.
6 out of 7 they lost.
Yeah, so it's pretty bad, man. So and it doesn't have anything to do with the guys' effort, which is a great thing. Now we'll figure that out this last week of the season when these guys come out and they ain't got nothing to play for. You going home. So are you gonna come out here and lay it on the line this last week and give us a show of what could have been and what's to come?
Right.
I'm excited to see that. What about you?
Yeah, I am too. Obviously, you want to go there and ruin the Dolphins season as far as making the playoffs. And it's just crazy. We won enough games to not have, we have a middling draft pick. But yeah, they played with heart. I'm not sure. I don't think, I think Joe Douglas and Coach Salah's jobs are obviously safe. There's no issue that, they come play for the guy. But like you said, Zach's won games and no more victories for Mike White. It's all about wins and losses. So at that point, you're more comfortable watching Mike White play, not turn over the ball. But like you said, Zach has won games. So you pick, what you want to do. So I think maybe a whole off season with these guys that they come back different. But all in all, like I said, the season's not over, but we got our hopes up. We didn't expect much. We got our hopes up, and we got let down. But you can't say the season was a loss.
And another thing I was going to harp on before we go, excuse me, is the fact that we pick draft this year. Because we won some games. And with that being said, I looked at a couple mock drafts. And who do we have us picking? Richardson from University of Florida. The kid has tons of talent and has legs to run, but he's very raw. Very talented, very raw. And maybe you short the offensive line, you keep Mike White, you keep Zach Wilson, you go in the draft, let him come in and watch and learn for a year or two, and then throw him into the fire. Then you have your quarterback of the future, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. I get excited about his film and just watching him play and watch him wheel his Florida Gators to football games. If he is somebody they can get in the draft, I'm with overlooking Lamar Jackson and everybody else and give this kid a chance to come in and turn this franchise around in the quarterback room.
Yeah. I mean, could we keep drafting quarterbacks? Like I said, if you can get an established guy and not have to pay, $30 million a year or whatever it is, do that. But like I said, Vera Tucker coming back, Becton coming back, Breece Hall, the weapons are there. And like I said, some of the best quarterbacks in the league has sat for a year, 2 years. And you can see that they're more mature. They're ready to play. New York's a tough place to play. And Zach's going to have to do a lot to win over the fan base and his teammates. But hey, like I said, end the season strong. Going to the off season, just knowing they had some good things happen and get ready for next year.
Well, buddy, I beg to differ. Zach wasn't playing very well when he was winning, and he had New York won over. All you got to do is win in New York, baby, and you'll be fine. Yep. So if they figure out ways to get guys back and healthy and running the ball and winning the game, and all he has to do is manage it, I don't care if it's him or Mike effing White that's doing it. Yeah. If they can win some games next year and get this team into the playoffs, I don't think the fans will care. They will love them regardless. So let's just win some games and get things going in the right direction. Forget stats, throw it all out. Like I said, when he was winning, and he wasn't playing well, in my opinion. You may have saw different, but he wasn't. But the city loved him. He was the best thing since sliced bread. But as soon as he started, oh my gosh, they snatched that chair from under him so fast when he tried to sit down, and that's where he at now. He fell flat on his bottom. So hopefully he can get it done. And I can tell you like this: putting boo-boo in a banana peel don't make it taste better. That's what we had this year. The boo-boo in the banana peel. So it is what it is. Let's get it figured out and win some games, buddy. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
I love you too, brother.